What if I told you that millionaires around the world are waking up at this very moment and performing 5 specific rituals that literally pull money toward them like a magnet, and you've been skipping every single one of them without even knowing it? In the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal the exact morning practices that separate people who struggle financially from those who seem to effortlessly attract wealth and opportunity. And here's what most people don't understand about these rituals. Because they're not complicated, and they don't require hours of your time, but they do require a fundamental shift in how you start your day. And once you make this shift, everything changes. Because these aren't just habits, and they're not just routines, and they're actually energetic alignments that reprogram your subconscious mind to recognize and attract financial abundance. And thousands of people who've implemented these exact practices have reported unexpected money showing up in their lives within days, and I'm talking about surprise checks and new opportunities and clients appearing out of nowhere and raises they didn't even ask for. If you're serious about transforming your financial reality, then subscribe to this channel right now, because every single video we create is designed to help you break free from scarcity thinking and step into the abundant life you deserve. Let me start by sharing something that changed everything for me. And it happened on a morning that seemed completely ordinary, and I woke up stressed about bills and worried about money and feeling that familiar heaviness in my chest that comes from financial pressure. And I went through my usual routine, which meant checking my phone immediately and scrolling through social media and letting the world dictate my energy before I even got out of bed. And then I stumbled upon something that a mentor shared about the first hour of your day. And he said that the first 60 minutes after you wake up are the most powerful minutes of your entire day, because your brain is in a theta state, which is the same state you're in during deep meditation and hypnosis. And this is when your subconscious mind is most receptive to new programming, and most people waste these precious minutes consuming information and reacting to the world instead of creating their reality. And that hit me like a lightning bolt, because I realized I had been giving away my power every single morning. So I decided to experiment, and I committed to trying something different for just 30 days. And what happened in those 30 days was nothing short of miraculous. And money started flowing into my life in ways I couldn't have predicted. And the shift wasn't just external, because the internal transformation was even more profound. Because I stopped feeling anxious about money, and I started feeling excited about possibilities. And that energy shift is what changed everything. And now I'm going to walk you through each of these 5 morning rituals in the exact order you should do them, because the sequence matters, and each ritual builds upon the previous one, creating a powerful momentum that carries you through your entire day. The first ritual is what I call the gratitude awakening, and this is the very first thing you do before you even open your eyes, and before you check your phone, and before you think about your to-do list. And here's why this matters so much. Because the moment you wake up, your brain is deciding what kind of day you're going to have. And most people wake up and immediately start thinking about problems and worries and everything they have to do. And this sets a frequency of stress and lack that colors their entire day. And when you're vibrating at the frequency of lack, you cannot attract abundance, because the universe responds to your dominant vibration and gives you more of whatever you're focused on. And this isn't mystical thinking, and this is quantum physics, because everything in the universe is energy vibrating at different frequencies, and money is energy, and abundance is energy. And when you align your personal frequency with the frequency of abundance, you become a magnet for it. So the gratitude awakening works like this, and the moment you become conscious that you're awake, and before you move your body, you begin to feel genuine appreciation for things in your life. And I'm not talking about making a mental list. And I'm talking about actually feeling the emotion of gratitude in your body, because emotion is energy in motion, and it's the feeling that creates the magnetic pull. And you might start with something simple, like feeling grateful that you woke up, because that means you have another day to create, and another opportunity to experience life, and another chance to manifest your desires. And then you expand that feeling to other areas of your life. And maybe you feel grateful for the bed you're sleeping in, and the roof over your head, and the people you love. And as you do, something remarkable happens in your brain, because gratitude activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest mode. And this immediately reduces cortisol, which is your stress hormone, and increases serotonin and dopamine, which are your feel-good chemicals. And this chemical shift in your brain literally rewires your neural pathways to look for more things to be grateful for throughout the day. And what you focus on expands. But here's the secret that takes this ritual to the next level. And after you've spent a few minutes feeling grateful for what you already have, you begin to feel grateful for the money that's already on its way to you. And you feel grateful for the opportunities that are aligning right now. And you feel grateful for the abundance that's about to manifest in your physical reality. And this is where most people get tripped up, because they think you can only be grateful for things that already exist. But the universe doesn't distinguish between what's already here and what's on its way, because time is a human construct. And in the quantum field, everything exists simultaneously. And when you feel genuine gratitude for money before it arrives, you're collapsing the wave function and pulling that reality into your experience. And I know this might sound abstract, but stay with me, because this works. And people who practice this consistently report that money shows up in unexpected ways. And it might be a refund you forgot about, or a client who suddenly wants to work with you, or an investment that pays off unexpectedly. The key is to really feel it. And don't just think the words and feel the emotion, and let it fill your chest and spread through your body. And imagine what it feels like to open your bank account and see more money than you expected, and feel the relief and the joy and the freedom and the excitement, and hold that feeling for at least 5 minutes, because 5 minutes of pure elevated emotion in the morning can set the tone for your entire day. And this is how you start training your brain to expect abundance instead of lack. Now, once you've completed your gratitude awakening, you move into the second ritual, which is what I call identity shifting. And this is where you consciously step into the version of yourself who already has the wealth you desire. And most people try to attract money from the identity of someone who doesn't have enough. And they say affirmations like, "I want money," or "I need money," or "I hope money comes to me." And these statements are all rooted in lack, because they reinforce the feeling of not having. And the universe doesn't respond to what you want, and it responds to who you are being. And this is the fundamental principle that changes everything. Think about it like this. And if you want to attract the lifestyle of a millionaire, you can't vibrate at the frequency of someone who's broke. And it's not about pretending or lying to yourself. And it's about genuinely shifting your identity at a core level. And wealthy people think differently, and they feel differently, and they move through the world differently. And they don't worry about money because they know it's always flowing to them. And they don't stress about bills because they trust in their ability to create wealth. And they don't operate from scarcity because they live in a state of abundance consciousness. And when you can embody that same state of being, you begin to attract the same results. So here's how you practice identity. Shifting in the morning, and after your gratitude awakening, you sit up in bed or stand up, and you take a moment to close your eyes, and you ask yourself this powerful question: and who is the version of me that already has financial abundance? And then you let the answer come to you. And you might see an image of yourself, or feel a certain way, or sense a particular energy. And then you step into that identity fully, and you feel what that version of you feels, and you think what that version of you thinks, and you embody the confidence and the certainty and the peace that comes with financial freedom. And you might even notice that your posture changes, and your breathing changes, and the expression on your face changes because your body language reflects your internal state. This isn't about faking it until you make it, and this is about becoming it before you see it, because the external world is always a reflection of your internal world. And if you wait for the money to show up before you feel abundant, you'll be waiting forever, because the feeling comes first, and then the manifestation follows. And this is the secret that wealthy people understand intuitively, and they feel abundant before they have the evidence. And that feeling is what creates the evidence. And you might spend 5 to 10 minutes in this identity, shifting practice and really anchoring into the feeling of being the wealthy version of yourself. And the more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. And eventually, this becomes your default state of being. And when that happens, money starts showing up consistently, because you're no longer sending mixed signals to the universe. The third ritual is what I call prosperity visualization. And this is where you use the power of your imagination to create a clear picture of your financial reality. And your brain doesn't know the difference between something you vividly imagine and something you actually experience, because the same neural networks fire in both cases. And this is why athletes use visualization to improve their performance. And this is why successful people see their goals in their mind before they achieve them in reality. And when you visualize wealth and abundance with enough detail and emotion, your subconscious mind begins to accept it as real, and it starts working behind the scenes to make it happen. So after you've shifted into your wealthy identity, you take this practice deeper through visualization, and you find a comfortable position and close your eyes, and you begin to create a mental movie of your ideal financial life. And this isn't just about seeing numbers in a bank account, and this is about experiencing the fullness of what wealth means to you. And you might visualize yourself walking through your dream home and feeling the textures and seeing the colors and hearing the sounds, and you might imagine yourself driving your dream car and feeling the steering wheel in your hands and the excitement in your chest. And you might see yourself traveling to exotic destinations and experiencing the freedom that comes with having unlimited resources. But here's what makes this visualization truly powerful. And you don't just see these things from a distance, like you're watching a movie and you see them from your own eyes, and you're in the scene and you're experiencing it as if it's happening right now, and you engage all of your senses, because the more real it feels, the more powerful the imprint on your subconscious mind. And you might feel the sun on your skin as you relax on a beach vacation that you paid for in cash, and you might taste the champagne at a celebration dinner after closing a major deal, and you might hear the sound of applause as you're recognized for your success, and you might smell the leather interior of your luxury car. And the more sensory detail you add, the more your brain believes it's real. And as you're visualizing, you maintain that feeling of gratitude and excitement and certainty that this is already yours, and you're not hoping or wishing or wanting, and you're simply previewing what's already on its way. And this is a subtle but critical distinction, because hoping creates distance between you and your desire, but knowing creates magnetic pull. And you spend at least 10 to 15 minutes in this visualization practice. And you make it so real and so vivid that when you open your eyes, you feel like you've already lived it. And that feeling is what carries you through your day and influences every decision you make and every action you take. Now, the fourth ritual is where most people miss the mark entirely, and this is what I call abundance affirmation. But not the way you think, because most people repeat affirmations like robots. And they say, "I am rich," over and over while feeling completely broke inside. And that creates cognitive dissonance, because your conscious mind is saying one thing, but your subconscious mind is feeling another. And when there's a conflict between your thoughts and your feelings always win, because feelings are the language of the subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind is what controls 95% of your behavior and your results. So abundance affirmation done correctly is about speaking statements that you can actually believe, while simultaneously stretching your comfort zone, and you start where you are and you build from there. And if you're currently struggling with money, you don't start by affirming that you're a billionaire, because your subconscious will reject that immediately. And instead, you might start with something like "money flows to me more easily every single day," or "I am becoming more abundant in all areas of my life," or "opportunities for wealth are always available to me." And these statements feel believable while still directing your mind toward abundance. And as you repeat these affirmations, you're not just saying words, and you're feeling the truth of them. And you're looking for evidence that supports them, because your brain is a confirmation machine. And whatever you tell it to look for, it will find. And here's the key to making affirmations. Work and you say them out loud, because spoken words carry more power than thoughts alone. And sound creates vibration, and vibration creates reality. And when you speak your affirmations with conviction and emotion, you're sending a powerful signal to your subconscious mind and to the universe. And you might stand in front of a mirror and look yourself in the eyes as you speak these truths, because eye contact with yourself creates a deeper level of integration. And it might feel uncomfortable at first, but that discomfort is actually a sign that you're breaking through old programming. You spend about 5 to 10 minutes on this ritual, and you choose 3 to 5 powerful affirmations that resonate with you, and you repeat them with feeling and conviction. And you notice how your energy shifts as you speak them. And over time, you can upgrade your affirmations as your belief system expands, and what once felt like a stretch becomes your new normal. And that's when you know you're making real progress, because your comfort zone around money is expanding, and you're beginning to embody a new financial identity. The fifth and final ritual is what I call inspired action planning, and this is the bridge between the inner work and the outer results, because manifestation isn't just about thinking positive thoughts and visualizing and hoping the universe delivers. And manifestation is about aligning your energy with your desires and then taking action from that aligned state. And this is where most people who study the law of attraction get stuck, because they do all the inner work, but they don't follow through with inspired action, or they take action from a place of fear and desperation, which actually pushes money away instead of attracting it. So after you've done your gratitude, awakening, and your identity shifting, and your prosperity visualization, and your abundance affirmation, you take a few minutes to ask yourself one powerful question: and what is one action I can take today that aligns with my wealthy identity? And then you sit quietly and you listen for the answer. And this isn't about forcing or straining or making a huge to-do list. And this is about tuning into your inner guidance and allowing the answer to come to you. And inspired action feels light and exciting and energizing. And it's different from forced action, which feels heavy and exhausting and obligatory. The action might be something small, like sending an email you've been putting off, or reaching out to a potential client, or investing in your education, or cleaning up your financial records, or researching an investment opportunity. And the specific action matters less than the energy behind it, because when you take action from a place of abundance and confidence and trust, you get completely different results than when you take action from fear and lack. and desperation. And this is why two people can do the exact same thing and get completely different outcomes, because the energy behind the action is what determines the result. So you write down that one inspired action and you commit to doing it before the end of the day. And you don't overwhelm yourself with a massive list, and you focus on one powerful action that moves you toward your financial goals. And then you trust that this action will lead to the next right action and the next one after that. Because abundance unfolds step by step, and you don't need to see the entire staircase, and you just need to take the first step, and then the next step reveals itself. And this is how you build momentum. And momentum is what creates breakthrough results. Now let me share with you why these 5 rituals work together so powerfully, because each one serves a specific purpose in reprogramming your subconscious mind and aligning your energy with wealth. And the gratitude awakening sets the tone and raises your vibration and opens you up to receiving. And the identity shifting changes who you're being at a core level, so you stop operating from lack and start operating from abundance. And the prosperity visualization creates a clear target for your subconscious mind to move toward, and programs your reticular activating system to notice opportunities. And the abundance affirmation reinforces your new beliefs and dissolves old limiting programming. And the inspired action planning ensures you're taking steps from an aligned state, which multiplies your effectiveness. And when you do all 5 of these rituals every single morning, you're not just hoping for change, and you're not just wishing for abundance, and you're systematically rewiring your brain and shifting your energy and aligning with the frequency of wealth. And this isn't a quick fix, and this isn't a magic pill, and this is a practice. And like any practice, it gets stronger the more consistently you do it. And some people see results immediately, and money shows up within days, and opportunities appear out of nowhere. And others notice a gradual shift over weeks and months, where their financial situation steadily improves, and their stress decreases, and their confidence grows. But here's what I can promise you. And if you commit to these 5 morning rituals for 30 days straight, you will not be the same person at the end of those 30 days. And you will think differently, and feel differently, and act differently. And the external results will begin to match your internal transformation, because that's how this works. And the outer world always catches up to the inner world. And there's always a lag time between when you shift your energy and when you see the physical evidence, but the evidence always comes when you stay consistent and trust the process. Now, I want to address something important, because some people hear about morning rituals and they immediately think they don't have time, or they're not morning people, or they can't possibly add one more thing to their routine. And I understand that resistance, because I felt it too. And here's what I learned, and you don't have time not to do this, because the time you invest in these rituals will save you hours and days and years of struggle and frustration and spinning your wheels and trying to force things to happen. And when you start your day aligned with abundance, everything flows more easily, and you make better decisions, and you attract better opportunities, and you accomplish more in less time, because you're working with the natural laws of the universe instead of against them. And these 5 rituals together take about 30 to 45 minutes, and that's less than 1 hour out of your day. And most people spend more time than that scrolling social media, or watching television, or worrying about money. And what if you redirected that time toward practices that actually create wealth and transform your reality? And wouldn't that be the best investment you could possibly make? And I'm not asking you to believe me, and I'm asking you to test it for yourself, because the proof is in the experience. And you won't know if this works until you actually do it consistently. Let me share a story that illustrates the power of these rituals. Because a woman named Sarah reached out to me 6 months ago, and she was drowning in debt and living paycheck to paycheck and feeling completely hopeless about her financial situation, and she had tried everything, and she had read the books and watched the videos and done the affirmations, but nothing was changing, and she was ready to give up on the idea that she could ever be financially free. And then she came across these 5 morning rituals, and she decided to give it one last shot, and she committed to doing them every single morning for 30 days, no matter what. The first week was hard because she had to wake up earlier, and her mind resisted, and she didn't feel much different, and she almost quit after day 5, but something inside her told her to keep going. And by the end of week 2, she noticed something shifting, and she felt lighter and less anxious about money, and more hopeful about her future. And she wasn't sure if anything external had changed, but her internal state was definitely different. And then, in week 3, something unexpected happened, and she got a call from a former employer who offered her a consulting project that paid more than she made in 2 months at her regular job. And she couldn't believe it, because she hadn't even been looking for extra work and it just showed up. But that was just the beginning, because by the end of the 30 days, 3 more opportunities had come her way. And a friend asked her to partner on a business venture, and she received an unexpected tax refund. And a client she had written off as a lost cause suddenly paid an overdue invoice. And within 3 months, Sarah had paid off half her debt. And within 6 months, she had completely transformed her financial situation, and she went from barely surviving to thriving. And the most remarkable part was how easy it felt, because she wasn't forcing or struggling or hustling herself into the ground, and she was simply aligning her energy every morning and then following the inspired actions that came to her, and the universe met her there. Now, Sarah's story isn't unique, because I've seen this happen over and over again with people who commit to these rituals, and the details are different for everyone, but the pattern is the same. And you shift internally, and the external world shifts to match, and opportunities appear, and money flows, and life gets easier. And this isn't luck, and this isn't coincidence, and this is the natural result of aligning with the laws of abundance. But here's something crucial I need you to understand, because these rituals only work if you actually do them. And knowing about them isn't enough. And understanding the theory isn't enough. And agreeing that they make sense isn't enough. And you have to put them into practice. And you have to be consistent. And you have to give them time to work. Because transformation isn't instant, but it is inevitable when you stick with the process. And most people fail not because the principles don't work, but because they quit too soon, and they do it for a few days or a week, and they don't see immediate results, and they give up and go back to their old patterns, and then they wonder why nothing changes. So I'm inviting you right now to make a commitment to yourself and decide that for the next 30 days, you're going to prioritize these 5 morning rituals above everything else. And you're going to protect this time, and you're going to show up for yourself even when you don't feel like it, and especially when you don't feel like it, because that's when the real transformation happens, and that's when you break through the resistance and reprogram the old patterns and create new neural pathways that support wealth and abundance. And to help you stay accountable, I want you to do something right now and take out your phone or a piece of paper and write down today's date, and then write the date that's 30 days from now, and make a commitment that between these 2 dates, you will practice these 5 morning rituals every single day. And you can adjust the timing and make it work for your schedule. But you will do them, and then I want you to track your progress and notice what changes, and pay attention to new opportunities and unexpected money and shifts in how you feel about your finances, and at the end of 30 days, you can evaluate the results and decide if you want to continue. And I'm willing to bet that by then, these rituals will have become such a natural part of your life that you won't want to stop. Now let's talk about some common obstacles that might come up and how to handle them, because I want you to be prepared. And the first obstacle is the snooze button. And you might set your alarm earlier to do these rituals, but when it goes off, you hit snooze and go back to sleep. And this is your old programming trying to keep you comfortable and keep you stuck. And the way to overcome this is to remember why you're doing this. And you're doing this to transform your financial reality and create the life you've always wanted. And is an extra 30 minutes of sleep worth staying broke and staying stressed and staying stuck? And probably not. And so when that alarm goes off, you immediately sit up and put your feet on the floor and start your gratitude awakening before your mind has time to talk you out of it. The second obstacle is doubt, and your logical mind might say, "This is silly," or "This won't work for me," or "I need to see proof before I commit." And that's your ego trying to protect you from disappointment. But here's the truth, and you'll never see proof until you commit. Because commitment is what creates the proof. And you have to be willing to trust the process, even when you can't see the results yet. And faith isn't about knowing how it's going to work. And faith is about knowing that it will work if you do your part. The third obstacle is inconsistency. And you might do the rituals for a few days, and then skip a day, and then do them again, and then skip a few more days, and this sporadic approach won't give you the results you want, because you're not building momentum, and you're not creating new neural pathways, and you're not establishing a new identity. And it's like going to the gym once a week and wondering why you're not getting fit. And transformation requires consistency, and consistency requires commitment, and commitment requires a decision that this matters more than your comfort, or your excuses, or your old patterns. The fourth obstacle is doing the rituals mechanically without feeling. And you might go through the motions, but not really engage emotionally. And this is a common trap, because we're taught to think our way through life instead of feel our way through life. But remember that emotion is the secret ingredient, and it's the feeling that creates the magnetic pull, and it's the emotion that programs your subconscious mind. And so, when you're doing these rituals, make sure you're really feeling them and generating real emotion and connecting with the energy of what you're creating. Now, I want to give you some tips to make these rituals even more powerful, because there are ways to amplify the effects and accelerate your results. And the first tip is to create a sacred space for your morning practice. And this doesn't have to be fancy or elaborate, but having a designated spot where you do your rituals helps signal to your brain that this is important and this is special. And you might have a corner of your bedroom or a spot in your living room where you sit every morning. And you might add elements that support your practice, like a cushion or a candle or inspirational images. And the key is that when you go to this space, your mind knows it's time to focus and align and create. The second tip is to eliminate distractions, and this means not checking your phone until after you've completed your rituals. And your phone is designed to hijack your attention and pull you into other people's agendas. And if you check it first thing in the morning, you're giving away your power, and you're letting the external world dictate your energy. And instead, keep your phone on airplane mode or in another room until you've finished your practice, and protect these precious morning minutes, because they're setting the tone for your entire day. The third tip is to journal after your rituals and take 5 minutes to write down any insights or feelings or inspired actions that came to you during your practice. And this helps integrate the experience, and it creates a record of your journey that you can look back on and see how far you've come. And you might also write down any synchronicities or manifestations that show up throughout your day, because when you document these things, you train your brain to notice them more, and what you focus on expands. The fourth tip is to use music or binaural beats to enhance your practice, and certain frequencies can help you access deeper states of consciousness and amplify your manifestation power, and you might play soft instrumental music during your visualization or use binaural beats designed for abundance and wealth consciousness. And sound is vibration, and vibration is energy, and the right sounds can help you align with the frequency of abundance more quickly. The fifth tip is to practice these rituals with someone else, if possible, because when two or more people align their energy toward the same goal, the power multiplies exponentially. And this is called the mastermind principle, and you might have a partner or friend or family member who wants to transform their financial reality too. And you can commit to doing these rituals together, or at least checking in with each other daily to stay accountable and support each other's growth. Now let's go deeper into the science of why these rituals work, because understanding the mechanics can strengthen your belief and increase your results. And your brain operates in different frequency states throughout the day. And when you first wake up, you're coming out of delta waves, which is deep sleep, and moving through theta waves, which is that drowsy state between sleep and wakefulness. And theta is the same brainwave state accessed during hypnosis and deep meditation. And in this state, your subconscious mind is highly suggestible and open to new programming. And this is why the first hour after waking is so critical, because you have direct access to the part of your mind that controls your automatic behaviors and beliefs and patterns. And when you use this window of opportunity to feed your subconscious mind images and feelings and affirmations of abundance, you're literally rewriting the code that's been running your financial reality. And most people's financial programming was installed in childhood, and it came from their parents and their culture and their early experiences with money. And this programming runs automatically in the background, like software. And it determines how much money you think you can have, and how hard you think you have to work for it, and whether you believe you're worthy of wealth. And the beautiful thing is that you can change this programming, and the most effective time to change it is first thing in the morning when your brainwaves are in theta. There's also something called the reticular activating system, which is a bundle of nerves in your brainstem that filters information and determines what you pay attention to. And your RAS is constantly scanning your environment for things that match your beliefs and expectations, and it filters out everything else, because you're exposed to millions of bits of sensory information every second. And your conscious mind can only process a tiny fraction of that. So your RAS decides what makes it through. And when you program your RAS to look for abundance and opportunities and money, your brain starts noticing things it was previously filtering out, and you see opportunities that were always there but invisible to you before. And people who practice these morning rituals consistently report that they start seeing money opportunities everywhere because their RAS has been programmed to find them. There's also the law of resonance, which states that you attract what you resonate with, and everything in the universe is energy vibrating at different frequencies, and money is energy. And when you're vibrating at the frequency of lack and fear and scarcity, you can only attract more lack and fear and scarcity, because like attracts like. But when you use these morning rituals to shift your vibration to abundance and confidence and gratitude, you begin to resonate with wealth, and you become a magnet for money and opportunities and resources. And this isn't just metaphysical theory, and this is physics, and energy seeks harmony, and you attract whatever matches your dominant frequency. Now, I want to address a question that often comes up, and people ask, how long does it take to see results? And the honest answer is that it varies from person to person, because everyone's starting point is different, and everyone's resistance levels are different, and everyone's belief systems are different, and some people see results within days because they're ready and open and they have less resistance to overcome, and other people take weeks or months because they have deeper programming to clear and more limiting beliefs to release. But here's what I can tell you with certainty. And if you practice these rituals consistently for 30 days, you will see some kind of shift. And it might be a big external shift, like unexpected money or new opportunities, or it might be a more subtle internal shift, like less anxiety about money and more confidence and more clarity about your next steps. And both kinds of shifts are valuable because the internal shifts always precede the external manifestations. And the longer you practice these rituals, the more powerful they become because you're building momentum and strengthening new neural pathways and deepening your alignment with abundance. And people who've been doing these rituals for 6 months or a year report that their entire financial reality has transformed, and they're making more money, and they're attracting better opportunities, and they're feeling abundant and free and excited about their financial future. And this is available to you too if you're willing to commit to the practice. I also want to talk about what to do when fear or doubt creeps in, because it will. And you'll have days when you wake up and you don't feel like doing the rituals. And you'll have moments when you question whether this is really working. And you'll have times when old, limiting beliefs surface and try to convince you that you can't have wealth. And this is all completely normal. And it's actually a sign that you're making progress, because when you start to change, your old programming fights back, and it tries to pull you back to what's familiar and comfortable. And this is called homeostasis. And your brain is wired to keep you safe. And to your brain, safe means familiar, even if familiar is broke and struggling and unhappy. So when fear or doubt shows up, here's what you do, and you acknowledge it without letting it stop you. And you might say something like, I notice I'm feeling doubtful right now, and that's okay. And I'm going to do my rituals anyway. And you don't have to feel perfect to practice, and you don't have to be completely convinced to start. And you just have to be willing to try and to show up and to do the work even when it's uncomfortable. And in fact, the days when you don't feel like doing the rituals are the most important days to do them, because that's when you're breaking through resistance and creating real change. Another powerful strategy is to collect evidence of what's working, because your brain is designed to find proof for whatever you believe. And if you believe these rituals don't work, your brain will show you all the reasons why. But if you actively look for evidence that they are working, your brain will find that too. And so start a manifestation journal where you write down every synchronicity and every unexpected bit of money, and every new opportunity and every moment when you felt abundant, and over time you'll accumulate a body of evidence that reinforces your new beliefs and strengthens your faith in the process. And remember that manifestation isn't always loud and dramatic, and sometimes it shows up in quiet ways. And you might manifest a parking spot right in front of your destination, and you might manifest a discount on something you were going to buy anyway, and you might manifest a kind gesture from a stranger. And these small manifestations are just as important as the big ones, because they're proof that you're aligning with the frequency of abundance, and they're building your manifestation muscle and preparing you for bigger things. Now let's talk about what happens after the first 30 days, because that's when things get really interesting. And by that point, these rituals will have become a habit, and you won't have to think about them as much, and they'll feel natural and automatic. And this is when you can start to deepen your practice and expand your vision. And you might extend your visualization time, or add new affirmations, or experiment with different techniques. And the foundation you've built in the first 30 days becomes the launching pad for even greater abundance. And you will also notice that these morning rituals start to affect other areas of your life beyond just money. And you might find that your relationships improve, and your health gets better, and you feel more creative and inspired, and you have more energy and enthusiasm for life. And this is because abundance isn't just about money, and it's a state of being. And when you're in that state, everything in your life begins to flourish. And you realize that you're not just attracting money, and you're becoming a more abundant version of yourself in every way. Some people ask if they can do these rituals at night instead of in the morning. And while any time you practice these techniques is better than not practicing them at all, there's something uniquely powerful about the morning, and morning sets the tone for your entire day. And it's when your subconscious is most receptive, and it's before the world has had a chance to pull you in different directions. And when you align your energy first thing in the morning, you carry that alignment with you throughout the day. And it influences every interaction and every decision and every opportunity. And doing these rituals at night can be beneficial for sleep and relaxation, but it doesn't have the same momentum-building effect as morning practice. Now, I want to share some advanced techniques for those of you who are ready to take this even deeper, because once you've mastered the basic 5 rituals, you can add layers that amplify your results even more. And one powerful technique is called future pacing. And this is where, during your visualization, you imagine yourself 6 months or a year from now, looking back at this moment and feeling grateful for the decision you made to commit to these rituals. And you see yourself in your new abundant reality, thanking your past self for having the courage to change. And this creates a powerful emotional anchor and strengthens your commitment. Another advanced technique is called sensory immersion. And this is where you create physical reminders of your desired reality throughout your day. And you might put a picture of your dream car as your phone wallpaper, or you might write yourself a check for the amount of money you're manifesting and put it where you'll see it daily. Or you might wear a special piece of jewelry that represents abundance. And these physical anchors help keep your vibration high throughout the day and remind you of your morning alignment. You can also practice what's called living as if, and this means making decisions throughout your day from the perspective of your wealthy identity. And you ask yourself, before making any choice, what would the wealthy version of me do? And would they buy the cheap thing or invest in quality? And would they watch television for hours or use that time to learn and grow? And would they speak negatively about money or speak with gratitude and respect? And this practice helps you embody your new identity not just during your morning rituals, but all day long. And here's something really powerful that can accelerate your results even more, and share these practices with others. Because when you teach something, you deepen your own understanding and commitment. And there's a saying that to learn something, teach it. And when you help someone else transform their financial reality, you're reinforcing your own transformation, and you're creating a ripple effect of abundance that comes back to you multiplied. And this is the energy of generosity and contribution, and it's one of the highest frequencies you can vibrate at. Now, I want to talk about the role of action in manifestation, because there's sometimes confusion about this, and people think that if they just visualize and affirm and feel good, that money will magically appear without them doing anything. And while it's true that unexpected money can show up in surprising ways, the universe usually delivers through doors of opportunity that require you to walk through them. And this is why the 5th ritual of inspired action planning is so critical, because it bridges the gap between the inner work and the outer results. And here's the key distinction that most people miss. And there's a difference between inspired action and forced action. And forced action comes from fear and desperation and the belief that you have to make things happen through sheer willpower and hustle. And this kind of action is exhausting and often ineffective because you're swimming against the current. But inspired action comes from alignment and clarity and inner guidance, and it feels easy and natural and exciting. And when you take inspired action, you're working with the flow of the universe instead of against it. And things happen more quickly and easily, and you attract the right people and resources and circumstances to support you. So how do you know if an action is inspired or forced? And inspired action feels light, even if it's challenging, and there's a sense of rightness about it, and an inner knowing that this is the next step. And forced action feels heavy and obligatory, and there's resistance and doubt, and you're doing it because you think you should not, because you want to. And the more you practice tuning into your inner guidance during your morning rituals, the easier it becomes to distinguish between these two types of action throughout your day. And here's something important to understand about timing, because sometimes you'll receive an inspired action during your morning ritual, but it won't make logical sense, or the timing won't seem right. And this is where trust comes in, because the universe sees the bigger picture and knows things you don't know, and what might seem like bad timing from your limited perspective might actually be perfect timing from a higher perspective. And so when you receive an inspired action, even if it doesn't make complete sense to your logical mind, take it anyway, and trust that there's a reason. And often you'll look back later and see exactly why that timing was perfect. Let me give you an example of how this works, because a man named David was practicing these morning rituals, and during his inspired action planning one morning, he felt a strong urge to reach out to a former colleague he hadn't spoken to in 5 years, and his logical mind said that was random and weird, and there was no good reason to contact this person out of the blue. But the feeling was so strong that he decided to trust it. And he sent a simple message saying he'd been thinking about them and hoped they were well. And it turned out that this colleague had just started a new company and was looking for someone with David's exact skill set. And they hired him as a consultant. And that one relationship led to more income in 3 months than David had made in the previous year, and he would have missed that opportunity completely if he hadn't followed his inner guidance, even though it didn't make logical sense at the time. This is how the universe works when you're aligned, and it orchestrates circumstances and connections and timing in ways that your logical mind could never plan or predict. And your job is simply to do the inner work, to stay aligned, and to follow the inspired actions that come to you, and to trust the process even when you can't see the full picture. And the more you practice this, the more you'll see evidence of divine timing and perfect orchestration, and you'll develop a deep trust in the intelligence of the universe. Now let's talk about dealing with setbacks, because they will happen, and you might be practicing these rituals consistently and feeling good and aligned, and then something happens that seems like a step backward, and you might lose a client, or have an unexpected expense, or face a financial challenge. And this is when most people panic and think the rituals aren't working, and they abandon the practice right when they need it most. But here's what you need to understand. And setbacks are often setups for even greater breakthroughs. And sometimes things need to fall apart so they can come together in a better way. And sometimes what looks like a problem is actually the universe clearing space for something better to come in. So, when you face a setback, instead of spiraling into fear and doubt, you go back to your morning rituals with even more commitment, and you use them to process your emotions and realign your energy, and remember your power. And you might need to do some extra emotional clearing work, and that's okay. And you might need to examine limiting beliefs that are surfacing, and that's okay too. And the setback isn't proof that manifestation doesn't work. And it's an opportunity to deepen your practice and strengthen your faith and clear old patterns that were blocking your abundance. And often what you'll discover is that the setback leads directly to the breakthrough, and the client you lost makes space for 3 better clients. And the unexpected expense forces you to look at your finances and make changes that lead to greater prosperity. And the challenge you face teaches you something valuable that prepares you for the next level of wealth. And this is the hidden gift in every setback. And it's redirecting you towards something better if you're willing to trust and stay aligned and keep practicing. There's also something called the manifestation gap, which is the time between when you shift your energy and when you see the physical results. And this gap can be frustrating because you're doing the work and you feel different, but nothing seems to be changing externally. And this is when people often give up and they think it's not working. So they stop and they go back to their old patterns. But what they don't realize is that manifestation is happening in the invisible realm before it becomes visible, and seeds are germinating underground before they break through the soil. And just because you can't see the growth doesn't mean it's not happening. So during the manifestation gap, you have to hold your vision and maintain your alignment and trust that the universe is working behind the scenes to arrange people and circumstances and opportunities to deliver your desire. And this is where patience and persistence pay off, because the people who succeed with manifestation aren't necessarily the ones who are most talented or lucky, and they're the ones who refuse to give up, and they keep practicing even when they don't see immediate results, and they trust the process even when the evidence isn't there yet. And then one day everything clicks into place, and the breakthrough comes, and all the pieces fall together. And they realize that every moment of practice was building toward. Now I want to address a really important topic, which is worthiness, because this is the deepest block that most people have around money, and on some level, many people don't believe they deserve to be wealthy. And this belief might be conscious or unconscious, but it's there, and it sabotages every effort to create abundance. And you might do all the right things and practice all the rituals, but if you don't feel worthy of wealth, your subconscious will find ways to push it away or prevent it from coming in the first place. So how do you heal worthiness issues? And it starts with understanding that your worth is inherent, and it's not something you earn or prove or achieve, and you're worthy simply because you exist, and you're a divine being having a human experience, and you're made of the same energy that creates stars and galaxies, and you have the same creative power within you. And wealth isn't something reserved for special people, and it's your birthright, and it's available to everyone who aligns with it, and the only thing that keeps you from it is your belief that you can't have it or don't deserve it. And during your morning rituals, especially during the identity shifting practice, you can work with worthiness by affirming statements like, "I am worthy of unlimited abundance," or "I deserve to be financially free," or "Wealth flows to me easily because I am valuable." And you repeat these, not just with your mind, but with your heart. And you feel the truth of them, and you let them sink deep into your subconscious. And over time, these affirmations dissolve the old programming that said you weren't good enough or didn't deserve good things, and they replace it with a new truth that supports your abundance. Another powerful practice is to examine where your worthiness wounds came from, because they usually originated in childhood. And maybe you grew up in a household where money was scarce, and you learned that wanting money was greedy or selfish. And maybe you were told that rich people are bad, or that money is the root of all evil, and maybe you internalized the belief that you had to struggle and sacrifice to earn money. And these beliefs are running in the background, affecting your results. And when you bring them into conscious awareness, you can question them and release them and choose new beliefs that serve you better. And here's a powerful reframe that can help. And money is simply energy. And energy is neutral. And it's not good or bad. And it's just a tool. And what matters is how you use it. And you can use money to create beauty and help people and support causes you care about, and provide for your family and experience joy and freedom. And when you see money as a positive force that allows you to be more of who you are and give more to the world, then wanting it becomes a noble desire, not a selfish one. And this shift in perspective can unlock tremendous abundance, because you're no longer conflicted about having money. Now let's talk about the power of environment, because your external environment affects your internal state. And if you're surrounded by clutter and chaos and things that don't inspire you, it's harder to maintain a high vibration. But when you create an environment that reflects abundance and beauty and order, it supports your manifestation practice. And this doesn't mean you need to have a fancy house or expensive things, and it means you take care of what you have, and you arrange your space intentionally, and you surround yourself with things that make you feel good and remind you of your goals. You might create a vision board and place it where you'll see it every morning during your rituals, and you might clean out your wallet and organize your financial documents. And you might buy yourself fresh flowers or light a candle during your practice. And these small acts signal to your subconscious that you value yourself and you're creating a container for abundance. And the universe responds to these signals and matches your energy and pay attention to the people you surround yourself with, because energy is contagious. And if you're constantly around people who complain about money and speak from scarcity and tell you your dreams are impossible, it's going to be harder to maintain your abundant mindset. And this doesn't mean you need to cut everyone out of your life, but it does mean you might need to set boundaries and limit your exposure to negative influences and seek out people who are also on a path of growth and expansion and abundance. And when you're around people who believe in possibilities and support your dreams and celebrate your wins, it lifts your energy and accelerates your results. You might join a mastermind group or find an accountability partner, or simply spend more time with friends who inspire you and encourage you, and less time with people who drain you and criticize you. And this isn't about being elitist or thinking you're better than anyone. And this is about protecting your energy and creating the conditions for your success. And you can love people from a distance while you're building your new reality. And once you're more established in your abundance, you'll be strong enough to be around anyone without being pulled down. Now I want to share some signs that your manifestation is working, because sometimes the evidence shows up in subtle ways before the big breakthrough comes. And one sign is that you start feeling different about money, and you notice you're less anxious and more trusting, and you catch yourself thinking abundant thoughts automatically without having to force them. And this is your new programming taking root. And another sign is synchronicities, and you keep seeing repeating numbers or hearing the same message from multiple sources or running into people at just the right time. And these are signals from the universe that you're on the right path and your manifestation is in motion. Another sign is unexpected opportunities, and people reach out to you with offers, or you stumble across information that leads to a breakthrough, or doors open that were previously closed. And these opportunities might not always look like what you expected, but they're stepping stones toward your desire. And yet another sign is small manifestations, and you find money on the ground or receive unexpected discounts or manifest free things. And these small wins are the universe showing you that your practice is working and building your confidence for bigger manifestations. And perhaps the most important sign is that you start taking different actions, and you notice you're making choices aligned with your wealthy identity, and you're investing in yourself, and you're speaking up for what you're worth, and you're saying no to things that don't serve you. And this behavioral shift is evidence that your internal transformation is complete, and now it's just a matter of time before the external results catch up. Now, as we move toward the end of this journey together, I want to remind you of something crucial. And these 5 morning rituals are not just techniques, and they're not just practices, and they're a way of life, and they're a commitment to yourself and your growth and your potential. And when you practice them consistently, you're making a statement to the universe that you're serious about transformation, and you're ready to step into your power and claim the abundance that's your birthright. And the truth is that everything you desire already exists in the quantum field, and It's already available to you, and the only thing separating you from it is your vibration and your beliefs and your identity. And these morning rituals are the tools that close that gap and bring you into alignment with what you want. And they work not because they're magic, but because they're based on universal laws that govern how reality is created. And when you work with these laws, instead of against them, everything becomes possible. I've seen people completely transform their financial reality through these practices, and I've seen single mothers go from barely making ends meet to running thriving businesses. And I've seen people in debt manifest enough money to pay it all off. And I've seen individuals stuck in jobs they hate, attract opportunities to do work they love, and get paid abundantly for it. And I've seen couples on the verge of divorce because of financial stress heal their relationship and create prosperity together. And none of these people were special or different or more deserving than you. And they simply made a decision to change, and they committed to the practice, and they trusted the process. And now it's your turn, and you have everything you need to create the financial abundance you desire. And you have the knowledge, and you have the tools, and you have the power. And the only question is whether you'll use them, and whether you'll make the commitment, and whether you'll stay consistent, even when it's hard, and even when you don't see immediate results. And I believe you will, because something brought you here, and something made you read this far, and that something is your inner knowing that there's more available to you, and it's time to claim it. So here's what I want you to do right now, and before you move on to anything else, I want you to make a decision and decide that starting tomorrow morning, you will wake up and practice these 5 rituals, and you will do them every single day for the next 30 days, and you will protect this time, and you will show up for yourself, and you will trust the process, even when your logical mind doubts. And you will take the inspired actions that come to you, and you will stay consistent no matter what. And this decision right now in this moment is the turning point. And this is where your new financial reality begins. And to support you on this journey, I want to invite you to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, because we create content specifically designed to help you break free from limitation and step into abundance. And every video is a tool for your transformation and a reminder of your power and a guide on your path to financial freedom. And when you subscribe, you're not just clicking a button, and you're making a commitment to your growth, and you're surrounding yourself with energy and information that supports your success, and you're joining a community of people who are also on this journey, and together we rise. Remember that you're not alone in this, and thousands of people around the world are practicing these same rituals and experiencing profound transformations, and you're part of a global shift in consciousness where more and more people are waking up to their creative power and claiming their abundance. And the more of us who do this work, the easier it becomes for everyone, because we're raising the collective vibration and creating new pathways for others to follow. And your commitment to these practices doesn't just change your life, and it creates a ripple effect that touches everyone around you and inspires others to believe in possibilities too. And as you move forward on this path, know that every single morning is a new opportunity. And yesterday doesn't matter, and last week doesn't matter, and how you've been living for the past 10 years doesn't matter, because right now in this moment, you have the power to choose differently. And every morning when you wake up, you get to decide who you're going to be, and what energy you're going to carry, and what reality you're going to create. And these 5 rituals give you the structure and the support to make empowering choices consistently. And that consistency is what creates lasting transformation. There will be mornings when you don't feel like doing the rituals, and there will be days when doubt creeps in, and there will be moments when you question whether this is really working. And in those moments, I want you to remember why you started, and remember the life you're creating. And remember that every person who's achieved financial freedom had to push through these same doubts and resistance. And the only difference between people who succeed and people who give up is that successful people keep going, and they practice even when they don't feel like it, and they trust even when they don't see evidence, and they persist until the breakthrough comes. And the breakthrough will come, and it might not happen on your timeline, and it might not look exactly how you imagined, but it will come. And when it does, you'll look back at this moment, and you'll be so grateful that you didn't give up. And you'll see how every practice, and every visualization, and every affirmation was building toward that breakthrough. And you'll understand that nothing was wasted, and every step was necessary. And you'll have a deep knowing that you can create anything you desire because you've proven it to yourself. So as we close, I want to leave you with this final thought: and you are more powerful than you know. And you have within you the same creative force that births galaxies and orchestrates the seasons and causes seeds to become forests. And that power is not somewhere outside of you waiting to be found, and it's already within you waiting to be activated. And these 5 morning rituals are simply a way of activating that power and directing it toward the financial abundance you desire. And when you practice them consistently, you're not trying to get something you don't have, and you're simply allowing what's already yours to flow into your experience. The money you desire is already on its way, and the opportunities you need are already being arranged, and the universe is already conspiring in your favor. And your only job is to align your energy and trust the process and take inspired action and let it unfold. And you don't have to figure out how it's going to happen, and you don't have to control every detail, and you just have to show up every morning and do your part and let the universe handle the rest. And that's the beauty of this practice, and it takes the pressure off, and it makes manifestation feel easy and natural instead of forced and stressful. And remember that abundance is your natural state, and scarcity is learned, and fear is conditioned, and limitation is programmed. But underneath all of that programming is a being of infinite potential and unlimited creative power. And that's who you really are. And these morning rituals help you remember and reconnect with your true nature. And as you do, your external reality shifts to reflect that truth, and money flows and opportunities appear, and life gets easier and more joyful and more abundant in every way. I'm so excited for you and for what's about to unfold in your life, because I know from my own experience and from watching countless others that when you commit to these practices, everything changes. And 30 days from now, you'll be amazed at how different you feel and how much has shifted. And 6 months from now, your financial reality will be transformed in ways you can't even imagine right now. And this is not hype, and this is not exaggeration. And this is the natural result of aligning with the laws of abundance and practicing consistently and trusting the journey. So make that commitment right now and protect your morning practice and show up for yourself every single day. And take inspired action and trust that everything is working out for you, and stay subscribed to this channel so you can continue receiving tools and inspiration and support on your journey. And most importantly, believe in yourself and your power to create the life you desire, because you absolutely can, and you absolutely will, and your abundant future is waiting for you. And it's time to claim it. And if this message resonated with you, then I invite you one more time to hit that subscribe button right now, because this is just the beginning, and there's so much more wisdom and guidance and transformation waiting for you in the videos to come. And together, we're going to unlock levels of abundance you never thought possible. And I'll see you in the next one, where we'll go even deeper into the secrets of wealth creation and manifestation. And remember that every morning is a new beginning, and every day is an opportunity to align with abundance. And your wealthy life starts the moment you decide it does. And that moment is now. See you soon.